నేను చెప్పే టాపిక్ టిష్యూస్, దాని తెలుగులో కణజాలాలు అంటారు. సో ఫస్ట్ డెఫినేషన్ ఫర్ టిష్యూ. టిష్యూ మీన్స్ a group of similar or dissimilar cells which perform common function and same origin called tissues. Then there are two types of tissues. One is meristematic tissue and second one permanent tissues. Meristematic and permanent tissues. So first one, meristematic tissues. Meristems means these are continuously divide or retain their power of division throughout the life, called meristems. Then meristems present from embryonic stage. It means starting stage of life cycle, but they are restricted to only certain areas. And point, characters of meristems. Meristem characters. Then meristem term was given by Nageli. Meristems, different shapes, the spherical or round or oval. Generally in meristems, cell wall is thin and particularly made up of cellulose. Then cells are living cells, contains vacuolated cytoplasm. Then at the center, prominent nucleus present. Center, prominent nucleus is present. Then in meristems, generally intercellular spaces are absent. No intercellular spaces. The nucleus at center. And meristems are multivacuolated. Contains many vacuoles. And meristems contains abundant cell organelles like mitochondria and lysosomes. Meristems, young plastids present, rightly called proplastids. In meristems, ergastic substance are absent. These are characters of meristems. The next one, classification of meristems. Classification of meristems. There are different types. Under this first one, based on origin. Based on origin, meristems are divided into two groups, primary and secondary meristems. Primary meristems, they present from embryonic stage. If meristems present from starting stage or embryonic stage of the plant, rightly called primary meristems, responsible for primary growth of plant body. Primary meristems, example, apical, intercalary and even intrafascicular or fascicular cambium. Intrafascicular or fascicular cambium. These are primary meristems. Secondary meristems, they are not present from starting stage or embryonic stage. They developed after certain age of the plant from permanent tissues by dedifferentiation, called as secondary meristems. Example for secondary meristems, one is interfascicular cambium, and second one cork cambium. These are example for secondary meristems. So it is first one, classification based on origin. Next one, classification of meristems based on position. Based on position, meristems are divided into three types. Among three types, first one, apical meristems. Second one, intercalary meristems. Third one, lateral meristems. So apical meristems. Apical meristems means these meristems present at apex of root or apex of stem, then apex of branches. So apical meristems present at the apex of root, stem and branches, absent in apex of leaves. Function of apical meristems, they help in linear growth. Apical meristems. Second one, intercalary meristems. Rightly, intercalary meristems means these apical meristems, they undergo division and develop cells, but these cells converted into permanent by losing their division. But at certain areas, these cells regain power of division. Again, some cells lose power of division, forms permanent. So, intercalary meristems. First point, intercalary meristems develop from apical meristems. Second point, intercalary meristems present in between permanent cells, intercalary. And intercalary meristems present only in monocots, particularly they present in grasses. And in grasses, they present at the base of internodes and help in elongation of internodes. Then intercalary meristems are ephemerals, short lifespan. In a short time, these intercalary meristems converted into permanent tissues. Rightly, which hormone acts on intercalary meristems means that the gibberellins acts on intercalary meristems, help in that elongation of internodes. Then point, apical and intercalary meristems. These are primary meristems responsible for primary growth of plant body. Here question, in all plants, which one help in that a linear growth means apical meristems. All plants means either dicots or monocots. Apical meristems in help in linear growth. In monocots, which one help in linear growth means apical and intercalary meristems. Then third one called a lateral meristems. Lateral meristems means they are present at lateral side to main axis or parallel to main axis. Rightly, they undergo periclinal division. And they help in thickness, increase in thickness or width or a girth of root or a stem. Rightly, it is called secondary growth. Here best example for lateral meristems. One is vascular cambium, and second one is cork cambium, vascular and cork cambium. In dicot stem, what is vascular cambium means? Actually, vascular cambium is formed by both intrafascicular and interfascicular. Interfascicular. Here point, procambium, rightly procambium gives rise to primary vascular tissues like primary phloem, primary xylem. So procambium gives rise to primary vascular tissues, xylem and phloem. Afterwards, some amount of procambium persists in between xylem and phloem. Such procambium is called intrafascicular, or it is called fascicular cambium. Intrafascicular or fascicular cambium. So intrafascicular is persist part of procambium produced by differentiation. So intrafascicular is primary meristem. Second one, interfascicular cambium. Here interfascicular cambium produced from medullary rays. Interfascicular cambium produced from medullary rays by a dedifferentiation. So interfascicular cambium produced from medullary rays by dedifferentiation. So interfascicular cambium is a secondary. Rightly intrafascicular and interfascicular fuse to form vascular cambium in a dicot stem. Then cork cambium, total cork cambium is secondary. This total cork cambium is produced from primary cortex by dedifferentiation. So total cork cambium is secondary, either dicot stem or dicot root, but in dicot stem particularly vascular cambium is partly primary, which is intrafascicular, partly secondary, which is interfascicular. Both are joined to form new cambial ring. It is called vascular cambium. So point is, vascular cambium is partly primary, that is intrafascicular, partly secondary, that is interfascicular. Why I am telling these points means, here there is simple confusion. What is that means? Lateral meristems. If students, you'll think that all lateral meristems are secondary, but it is wrong. Lateral meristems, primary, that is intrafascicular cambium, then secondary, that is interfascicular cambium. So question, all lateral meristems are secondary, wrong. All lateral meristems primary, wrong. Lateral meristems both primary and secondary. Primary lateral meristem, intrafascicular cambium. Secondary lateral meristem, interfascicular cambium. So lateral meristems are both primary and also secondary. Next one, classification of meristems based on plane of division. So based on plane of division, meristems divided into three types. One is mass meristem. Second one is rib meristem. Third one, plate meristem. Three types. So first one, mass meristem. Mass meristem means here plane of division, both anticlinal and also periclinal, called mass meristem. Example for mass meristem, endosperm. Second one, rib meristem. Rib meristem, here plane of division is a periclinal. Example for rib meristem, cortex. And rib meristem also called file meristem. Then third one, plate meristem. Plate meristem, here plane of division, anticlinal. It is called plate meristem. Example for plate meristem, formation of leaf from leaf primordia. So, first one mass meristem, plane of division, both anticlinal and also periclinal, both. Example, endosperm. Rib meristem, plane of division, periclinal. Example, cortex. Rib meristem also called file meristem. Third one, plate meristem, plane of division is anticlinal. Example is leaf. Formation of leaf from leaf primordia. It is third type of classification of meristem based on plane of division. Fourth type of classification of meristems based on function. Based on function, Haberland divided meristems into three types. One is protoderm. Second one procambium, and third one ground meristem. Three types. Then point. First one, protoderm. Function of protoderm. Protoderm gives epidermis or it gives dermal tissues. And second one, procambium. Procambium means it gives vascular tissues. Third one, ground meristem. Ground meristem means it gives ground tissues. So, it is classification of meristems based on first one based on origin, second one based on position, third one based on plane of division, and fourth one based on function. Theories. Next one, theories applicable to apical meristems or apex. Here, one is histogen theory. Second one, tunica corpus theory. Then, apical cell theory. Apical cell theory. Fourth one, 𝗕𝗏𝗄𝗃 theory. So, there are four theories which are applicable to that apical meristems. Under this first one, take apical cell theory. Apical cell theory proposed by Nageli and also Hofmeister. Apical cell theory means single cell gives total plant body. So, apical cell theory proposed by Nageli and Hofmeister in this complete plant body is produced from single cell. Example, algae, bryophyta and pteridophyta. It is apical cell theory. The next one, histogen theory. Here, histogen theory proposed by Hanstein. Histogen theory proposed by Hanstein. It is applicable to shoot apex and also root apex, both shoot and root apex. And according to histogen theory, it is first for shoot apex. So, according to histogen theory, this shoot apex, it shows three types of meristems. Among three types, first one, dermatogen. This dermatogen gives rise to epidermis by anticlinal division, like this, anticlinal. Second one, 𝗵𝗵𝗻. This 𝗵𝗵𝗻, it gives cortex, but by both anticlinal and also periclinal division. Third one, here third one is a 𝗵𝗏𝗏. This 𝗵𝗏𝗏, it gives steel by anticlinal division. So it is histoian theory. It is applicable to both the shoot and root apex. First for shoot apex. For shoot apex, it has three meristems. Dermatogen gives epidermis by anticlinal. 𝗵𝗵𝗻 gives cortex by both anti and periclinal. Third one, 𝗵𝗏𝗏, it gives steel by anticlinal division. Next, histoian theory for root apex. Histoian theory for root apex. In root apex also same three meristems present. First one, dermatogen. This dermatogen gives 𝗵𝗵𝗻𝗂 or rhizodermis. 𝗵𝗵𝗻𝗂 or rhizodermis. In root apex, dermatogen gives 𝗵𝗵𝗻𝗂 or rhizodermis. Along with that, also gives calyptrogen. This calyptrogen, actually calyptrogen gives root cap. This calyptrogen present in inactive zone. That inactive zone is called quiescent center. This quiescent center first reported by Clove in maize. So calyptrogen present in inactive zone. That inactive zone is called quiescent center. Why that cell is inactive means it contains low content of DNA, RNA and even proteins. And particularly whenever this root cap is damaged, that inactive cells in quiescent center becomes active and it produces root cap. That remaining is same. 𝗵𝗵𝗻𝗃, this 𝗵𝗵𝗻 gives cortex. In the same way, 𝗵𝗏𝗏, this 𝗵𝗏𝗏 gives steel. So it is histogen theory. Next one, 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 theory. 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 theory proposed by Schmid. It is applicable to only shoot apex. And according to this theory, shoot apex has two types of meristems. One is tunica. Tunica divides anticlinally and it gives epidermis. Second one, carpus. This carpus undergoes both anti and periclinal division. It gives both cortex and steel. It is 𝗬𝗏𝗏𝗃𝗃 theory. There is another theory, 𝗕𝗅-𝗃𝗃 theory, proposed by Schoop, and it is based on plane of division. It is similar to 𝗬𝗏𝗃𝗃 theory only. Here 𝗕𝗅, it includes plant body, and 𝗃𝗃, it includes cap. So next one, permanent tissues. Permanent tissues means the cells lose their power of division either temporarily or permanently. called permanent tissues. Then permanent tissues, three types: simple tissues, then complex tissues. These simple and complex tissues, most common. Then third type, special tissues. So three types. So first one, simple tissues. Simple tissues means consist of only one type of cells. So they are structurally and functionally same. Then simple tissues, three types. One is parenchyma, second one collenchyma, third one sclerenchyma. Three types. So first one, parenchyma. This parenchyma term was given by Grew. Parenchyma means, first point, it is primitive tissue present from algae to angiosperms. Second one, it is fundamental tissue. Fundamental tissue means all other tissues evolved from parenchyma, so called fundamental tissue. Third one, called ground tissue, almost present in all parts like a root, stem, leaf, fruit, flower. In all parts, parenchyma is present. So it is called ground tissue. Then characters of parenchyma. Parenchymatous cells mostly isodiametric. Then other than that, parenchymatous cells spherical or oval or round or polygonal in shape. Cells are loosely arranged, so intercellular spaces present, but in some parts like epidermis, protective tissue, and endosperm, nutritive tissue, in which intercellular spaces absent. Generally, cell wall is thin and it is made up of cellulose, hemicellulose, even pectin. But point, in a secondary xylem, this parenchyma is a lignified, made up of lignin. Then point, cells, living cells contains vacuolated protoplasm. Generally in parenchyma, vacuole present at center, nucleus is periphery, and this vacuole is surrounded by cytoplasm. That condition is called primordial utricle. Then characters of parenchyma, these are. Then based on function, parenchyma is majorly divided into chlorenchyma, then aerenchyma, then storage parenchyma. These are three types based on function. First one, chlorenchyma. Chlorenchyma means parenchyma with chloroplast is called chlorenchyma. So, function of chlorenchyma. it help in photosynthesis or assimilation. Then chlorenchyma rightly present in young stem, then leaves, then sepals. So all green parts contains chlorenchyma. It help in photosynthesis. But in leaves particularly, rightly, ground tissue of leaf is called mesophyll. That mesophyll is differentiated into, one is palisade parenchyma. This palisade parenchyma, adaxial side, it contains more chloroplast. Its main function is photosynthesis. Second one, sponge parenchyma. The sponge parenchyma present towards adaxial side. Even sponge contains chloroplast. So, main function is storing air. Besides storing air, even sponge parenchyma perform photosynthesis. So, it is first one, chlorenchyma. Second one, arenchyma. Arenchyma is a characteristic feature of hydrophytes, common in hydrophytes. Arenchyma means cells loosely arranged. So, intercellular space is present. That intercellular spaces stores air, rightly called arenchyma. Arenchyma present in all hydrophytes, that too all parts contains arenchyma. But main function of arenchyma, it help in respiration. And the second function, it help in that buoyancy. That is arenchyma. There is one terrestrial plant. It contains arenchyma, terrestrial plant with arenchyma. That is what means musa. And third one, storage parenchyma. Storage parenchyma, two types. One is food storage parenchyma and second one is water storage parenchyma. Food storage parenchyma, its main function is it store food, and a food storage parenchyma present in root tuber, stem tuber, or that a fruit or a seed. Then water storage parenchyma. Water storage parenchyma commonly present in fleshy xerophytes or called succulents like aloe, opensia. In that water storage parenchyma present, it store water in the form of mucilage or mucilaginous substance which reduce transpiration. These are characters and functions of parenchyma. Now, second type of simple tissue, collenchyma. Collenchyma term was given by Schleiden. Collenchyma, it is living mechanical tissue. Collenchyma is living mechanical tissue, commonly present in a dicot stem, that too below the epidermis, and it forms hypodermis. Forms what? Hypodermis. This collenchymatous hypodermis forms homogeneous layer, means a continuous in helianthus, or it occur in the form of patches. It occur in the form of patches in cucurbita. And this collenchyma absent in underground parts of all plants, means roots. In roots it is absent. Except epiphytic plant, that is what means aerial roots of monstera. In aerial roots of monstera, this collenchyma is present, but generally absent in roots, and also absent in monocot stem and leaves. Monocot stem and leaves. Now, characters of collenchyma. Even collenchymatous cells made up of cellulose, hemicellulose and pectin, but it contains more amount of pectin, so it is called pectinized mechanical tissue. Like parenchyma, even collenchyma is living tissue, contains vacuole at center surrounded by cytoplasm, so that condition is called primordial utricle. Because of that pectin, the cell wall of collenchyma contains abundant water. That unique feature of collenchyma is that the thickening is uneven. It means not a continuous thickening. The thickening takes place unevenly, and based on thickening, this collenchyma divided into three types. One is angular, second one lacunar, and third one lamellar. Three types. Angular collenchyma. Angular collenchyma means thickening takes place at the corners where the 2 or 3 cells are joined. So, angular cells arranged irregularly and thickening takes place at corners where the 2 or 3 cells are joined. Example for angular collenchyma, one is solanum and second one is datura. Then second one, lacunar collenchyma. Even in lacunar, cells arranged irregularly and cells loosely arranged, so intercellular space is present and thickening takes place in intercellular spaces called lacunar. Example for lacunar, aerial roots of monstera, and leucas. This lacunar. Third one, lamellar. Only in lamellar type, that cells arranged in a regular rows. Only in lamellar, cells arranged in regular rows, and in this type, thickening takes place tangentially. So, thickening occurs tangentially and radial walls remain thin. Such type of thickening is called lamellar, also called plate-like thickening. Example for lamellar, stems of Sambucus. These are types of collenchyma. Then functions of collenchyma. Functions of collenchyma, this living tissue. So, cells of this collenchyma contains chloroplast. So, they help in assimilation, help in photosynthesis. Then second one, it provides mechanical support. How it provides mechanical support means, if generally this collenchyma present at corners, generally thin stems, if you bend thin stems, they get stretched but do not bring. break. So, it present at corners, it gives a tensile strength, that is rightly called elasticity. So, it performs two functions. One is physiological function, that is assimilation. Second one is mechanical support, that is physical process. So, it performs both physiological and also physical function. This is about colon-chyma. So, third type of simple tissue is a sclerenchyma. So, parenchyma, it is living tissue but non-mechanical. Colon-chyma, living tissue but it is mechanical. Sclerenchyma, it is purely mechanical tissue, rightly called dead mechanical tissue. Rightly called dead mechanical tissue. Sclerenchyma, primary walls of sclerenchyma. Primary walls of sclerenchyma made up of cellulose, hemicellulose, even that a pectin. But after maturity, that the cells become dead by losing their protoplast. So, these cells contains empty space called a lumen, and particularly character of sclerenchyma, this secondary wall, it is made up of lignin, and a lignin is hard substance. So, it provides only mechanical support. The sclerenchyma present in tracheids, then vessels, then also present in that is scleroids and even fibers. Rightly, sclerenchyma is divided into two types. Of these two types, one is called fibers and second one is called scleroids. Point: what is fiber? Fiber means elongated cell. Fibers are elongated cell and the middle part is broad and end walls are narrow, or that end walls are tapering, and no protoplasm. That protoplasm is absent. So, it contains empty space. Rightly, that empty space is called lumen. That lumen is long and narrow, and its fibers contains either simple or bordered pits. Actually, based on position, these fibers are divided into two types. One is xylem fibers and second one extraxillary fibers. Extraxillary fibers. Xylem fibers, they present within xylem, and xylem fibers, two types. Of these two types, one is called libriform fibers and second one is called fiber tracheids. Fiber tracheids. Libriform fibers. Actually, libriform fibers are true fibers. Libriform fibers are true fibers, and libriform fibers, they contains only simple pits. Contains simple pits called libriform fibers. Then second one, fiber tracheids. Actually, fiber tracheids are non-functional. Fiber tracheids are non-functional. They are intermediate between fibers and scleroids. And point is, these fiber tracheids, they contains only bordered pits. Contains what? Only bordered pits. Actually, what are pits? What are pits? Pits means unthickened areas. If unthickened areas present on primary wall called the primary pit fields. That primary pit fields traversed by cytoplasmic strands called the plasmodesmata. Then point secondary wall. Here actually this is middle lamellum. Middle lamellum is outside. Below the middle lamellum, that primary wall is deposited. Primary wall deposited. This primary wall contains unthickened areas called primary pit fields traversed by cytoplasmic strands. Then exactly below the primary wall, secondary wall materials are deposited. Below the primary wall, secondary wall materials deposited. But these secondary wall materials, at certain areas, secondary wall materials are not deposited, called pits. Called pits. Then there are two types of pits. Among this, in some pit portion, this secondary wall becomes uniform. If secondary wall becomes uniform, such pit is called simple pit. So here these libriform fibers, they contains simple pits. Then second one, bordered pit. Bordered pit means in secondary wall area. In secondary wall area, this secondary cell wall forms arch or a roof-like. If it forms roof-like or arch, called bordered pits. In that way, pits are two types. So here libriform fibers, true fibers contain simple pits. These fiber tracheids, they contains what means bordered pits. This is about xylem fibers. The next one, extraxillary fibers. Extraxillary fibers. Point. If outside the xylem, fibers present, called extraxillary fibers. Extraxillary fibers may be phloem fibers or cortical fibers or perivascular fibers. Here phloem, rightly fibers generally absent in primary phloem, present in secondary phloem. In some plants, the primary or secondary phloem contains fibers. Rightly, secondary phloem is called bast. Secondary phloem is called bast. So, phloem fibers, secondary phloem fibers are called bast fibers. These bast fibers are commercially valuable. Generally, fibers 𝗓𝗏, but some fibers purely cellulosic. Purely cellulosic fiber, flax obtained from linum. Then another 𝗓𝗏 fibers, rami fiber. This rami fiber obtained from Bommeria. Next one, hemp. This hemp is obtained from cannabinus. Then sun hemp. This sun hemp is obtained from Crotalaria. These are some of the examples for that phloem fibers. Next one, cortical fibers obtained from that cortex, cortical pods, rightly called cortical fibers. Example for cortical fibers, Gymnosperm neatum. And next one, perivascular fibers. Perivascular fibers means these fibers present outside vascular tissues called perivascular fibers. These perivascular fibers, example is 𝗂𝗽𝗍𝗃. It is about fibers. Second type of sclerenchyma, scleroids. Compared to fibers, scleroids are highly lignified. So in scleroids, more amount of lignin present. So in scleroids, lumen is highly reduced. Then based on shape, scleroids are divided into many types. Under this, one is brachyscleroids. Brachyscleroids means the scleroids are isodiametric. Scleroids are isodiametric in shape, called brachyscleroids. They present in different parts and generally they gives mechanical support. So brachyscleroids are also called stone cells. Example for brachyscleroids, one is Pyrus malus, apple, and endocarp of coconut. Endocarp of coconut. Examples for brachyscleroids. Then next one, macroscleroids. Macroscleroids, also called Malpighian cells. These macroscleroids means they are rod shaped. Rod shaped, called macroscleroids. Example for macroscleroids, seed coats of pulses, macroscleroids. Then third one, astroscleroids. Astroscleroids means star shaped. Then star shaped scleroids are called astroscleroids. Example, leaves of nymphaea, astroscleroids. Then fourth one, trichoscleroids. Trichoscleroids means hair-like scleroids. Hair-like scleroids are called trichoscleroids. Example for trichoscleroids, one is olea leaves and second one aerial roots of monstera. Aerial roots of monstera. Remember, aerial roots of monstera, it contains two types of mechanical tissues. One is it contains lacunar collenchyma and second one it contains trichoscleroids. So point, lacunar collenchyma, it is living mechanical tissue. Trichoscleroids, it is dead mechanical tissue. So in roots of monstera, all three types of simple tissues present. Parenchyma, which is cortical or lacunar, and also trichoscleroids. Fourth one. The next one, filiform scleroids. Filiform scleroids, rightly called. Filiform scleroids means filamentous scleroids. These filamentous scleroids are called filiform scleroids. Example, olea leaves. So olea leaves, they contains two types of scleroids. One is trichoscleroid and second one is filiform scleroid. And last one, osteoscleroids. Osteoscleroids means bone shaped. So osteoscleroids, bone shaped. This bone shaped scleroids called osteo. Example for osteo, osteoscleroids present in cotyledons of Mayuria and leaves of Hakea. These are examples for osteoscleroids. So these are types of simple tissues: parenchyma, collenchyma and sclerenchyma. So, once comparison about these three types of simple tissues. Parenchyma. Parenchyma is most primitive tissue because it is present from algae to angiosperms. It means present in algae and bryophyta because other tissues absent, only parenchyma is present. So, parenchyma is called primitive tissue. Now, comparison about these three types of simple tissues: parenchyma, collenchyma, sclerenchyma. Among these three, parenchyma is primitive tissue present in alga and bryophytes, not other tissues, and generally it is called non-mechanical simple tissue. The next one, collenchyma. Collenchyma is living mechanical tissue, and collenchyma absent in underground parts, all the roots and a monocot stem and leaves, but exceptional is collenchyma present in aerial roots of monstera, and only collenchyma living tissue which performs mechanical support along with photosynthesis, and a sclerenchyma purely dead tissue, purely mechanical tissue made up of lignin. So, point is collenchymatous tissue is a pectinized mechanical tissue, collenchyma, lignified mechanical tissue, sclerenchyma. So, it is about simple tissues.